Hello, and welcome to Off the Shelf. This is a series where I take a look at one of the board games in my collection and give my thoughts about it. I'll talk about my likes and dislikes, as well as if I think the game is going to stay in my collection. Today, we're taking a look at King of New York. So, what do I like about this game? Well, for one, I do really like the production. King of New York was designed by Richard Garfield, who is most well known for designing the card game Magic the Gathering, and it was published by Yellow. And I've mentioned before that I really like Yellow's production value. It's always has great artwork and really good quality components. This is no different. What you get here are some really fun custom dice. They're really chunky and they have a good weight to them. And you get these fun characters such as a robot praying mantis and a fish in a diving suit. Just fun original characters, which leads into the next point that I like about this game, which is its theme. If you can't tell from the cover here, the theme of King of New York is that you are all giant monsters trying to destroy the city and get some points and do some damage. And I think that's a fun theme. It's kind of the opposite of what some other games might have, where you are working to try and stop giant monsters from hurting people. Well, in this game, you are the giant monsters, so that's kind of a fun thing. And it's a really simple, easy to play Yahtzee style game, which means that you'll be rolling dice and then re-rolling some and then resolving the faces on the dice. And you might see this and think, that looks like another game that I've played or heard of. And that game that you're thinking of is probably King of Tokyo. King of New York was a follow-up game to that. It doesn't seem like it did as well. More people still gravitate towards Tokyo, but for me, this is the better game. And that's one thing that I like about it, is that I think this is the better game than King of Tokyo. One reason for that is that King of New York has buildings. You'll put these buildings out on the board during the game and you can crush them. And to me, that just adds to the theme. King of Tokyo kind of felt a little bit themeless, but it's surprising just how much just adding these little buildings does to make you feel like you're just crushing things and turning things over. It's just one small change, but it really does add to the game in my opinion. Not only that, but as you crush buildings, military units will start showing up. So it kind of represents escalation, and you can crush those as well and score points. And it also adds the ability to get points by just rolling stars. In King of Tokyo, you had to roll 3 numbers just to get points. Well, in this one, it's just stars. It's a much more simplified, streamlined system that I think works better than King of Tokyo. You also have the skull icon, and that will do damage to you if you have military units nearby. So for me, there's that just a small changes that really add to the dimension of the game, and that for me makes this the better game than King of Tokyo. And all of that at the expense of only a couple minutes. King of Tokyo is about a 30-minute game. This is about 35 to 40. So you get a lot more to do, but it doesn't make the game that much longer. So that's kind of my take on the whole King of Tokyo versus King of New York. I think this is the better game. And again, part of that may be the bias because I did live in New York, and I just realized I did all 3 New York games. well, that may or may not have been intentional. But anyway, on to the dislikes. I honestly can't think of anything I strongly dislike about the game. If anything, what I have would be nitpicks. So, for one, there is a bit of a learning curve to the game, especially if you're not familiar with the Yahtzee mechanic of rolling and re-rolling dice. So there is a bit of a learning curve. It's a little bit more than King of Tokyo because of the additional things that I mentioned. But for me, that extra couple minutes of explaining things is well worth the additional value that you get out of the game. So it's not really that much of a detriment that it's a bit tricky to teach. And some of the cards are also a little bit tricky, but I think that the additional rules are worth that additional couple minutes of explanation. Another slight con would be that the board can get a little bit messy at high player counts because you do have those buildings and you're going to have all the monsters. So if you're playing with 5 or 6 players, it's going to fill up pretty quickly. I almost wish that the board had been slightly larger, but again, that's just a small gripe. Overall, I think the game is fantastic, and the verdict on this one is clearly that I'm keeping it. It's not going anywhere. I do like the game, and I do like the theme, and lucky for me, they did make several expansions for this game. You can pick up additional characters like Cthulhu and Anubis, and you can just add them in, and they come with their own kind of special rules if you want to use those as well. So, great game with a lot of extra content, and those are my thoughts on King of New York.